Doodle doo doo doo. Meow. Hello everybody, welcome to Xucaboa 100% Vanilla Baby, episode number 14. As always, I'd like to say thank you, gracias, obrigado to new supporters of the channel. Here we have Felipe Gomez, Pete MacDonald, Miguel Rocha, and Xucaboa, who is another City Skylines YouTube channel. Worth checking out, very impressive builds. If you're new to this channel, if you subscribe and leave a comment, you'll get something named for you in the following episodes. And I will include pictures of Xuca the cat, like this one, right up in her face. She was appalled that I would stick the camera so close, tucking her chin back, saying, "How dare you? How dare you take a photo of me that close?" Alright, so let's take a look at what we did last episode. You see the basin is looking quite lush with all this vegetation. We've got some volleyball court and basketball court next to the Creative Arts High School and the Community Elementary School. Got a lot of detailing work around SKYLINE Boulevard. If we follow along, we got the children's healthcare center there, the playground. We put in this park towards the end of the episode with a park zone, so hopefully that'll start leveling up a little bit at least. We got the fire watch tower here overlooking this big forest to the west, and outside of Canal Heights we put in the park maintenance building next to the geothermal plants because I think it goes well there. It's a big building. And with this skate park, I've got a request from Gregory to actually call it the McGregor Skate Park. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to add the McGregor Skate Park for rad skaters because skaters are rad. So that's all the housekeeping, all the tour of what we did last time. Now we're going to start working on West Canal in this upper area. I guess is it Canal Heights West? Is it West Canal? I'm not so sure anymore what's a better name for the neighborhood. But we're just going to delete everything, including this little park, which was put in after the tornado of 2030. Don't worry, it will come back, I promise. But what I'm going to do here, I'm succumbing to the need for a smooth intersection here and putting in a roundabout. So the first one in the entire city. It's a pretty small one, but it should be able to deal with the traffic. There might occasionally be little backups when there's a lot of vehicles that are all within the crosswalk. They actually treat it like a stop sign. If you don't have the TMPE mod on the PC, that is something you just got to live with. Otherwise, you can disable the box blocking, I think is what I would call it as a New Yorker, but I forget what it's called in the mod. Doesn't matter, we're not using mods. So I'm going to reconnect some of these bike paths, put a little bit of sidewalk that connects the street to the bridge so they don't have to go all the way around the street. If you look here now, this is going to be a theme for this episode. There are a lot of bison and cougars roaming in the forest. I've noticed that when I've been doing my trial and error builds, I guess, or pre-episodes, my experiment episodes. I noticed there are a lot of bison. So I want to make a natural area over there, and we'll do that after we redesign this little neighborhood. I put a tag on that bison. That is bison number 1. We're going to do our own little wildlife tagging situation here so we can keep track of which animals we see. Is it just one bison? Is it a family? I'm not totally sure. So just redrawing the lines for SKYLINE Boulevard there so it goes all the way around. And here I'm going to add just a little bit of concrete path so that way this cul-de-sac can just step off. People can step off of it onto the big boulevard instead of walking all the way around. And I'm putting in some fences to keep the zones contained to the neighborhood and not onto the main boulevard right there. So here I'm going to put 2 4x4s and here some 3x4s and one more 4x4 there. I think we'll leave that corner open for now and we'll see what grows. But before we do that, let me make sure that there's electricity now because I deleted all that stuff that was connected. So I'm going to put in an earthquake sensor. That's a little trick a lot of people know, but if you don't, just use an earthquake sensor and it creates a radius of electricity. So if you don't want to put a single power line stretch, you can use that and it's a very low profile. It just looks like an electric generator or something. I'm just moving over the Carl J Fire Watchtower, and we're going to put in a dirt road next to the helicopter depot, the fire helicopter station. And we're just going to dead end it right there, make a little hook with the street. And this is where we're going to put our nature reserve. All right, we've got a lot of bison and wildlife in this forest, and so why not make a nature reserve out of it? I don't want to build into their habitat, destroy their habitat. We'll just, you know, try to appreciate it and make it a nice place for people to go. So I'm taking the park zoning paintbrush. I made the whole forested area into a brush. And now you see I'm deleting a lot of trees. You might be wondering, why am I deleting all those trees if I'm going to make a nature park? The answer to that is because I want to put the trees in the way I want them. All right, I don't want my paths to go over trees. I want the trees to be alongside the path. You'll notice I delete a lot of trees before I build. I try to always clear trees before I put stuff down because there is a tree count and I detail heavily with trees. So I've never gone over my tree count, but I don't want to find out the hard way that I've got all these trees counted that you can't see. So as you see right now, I'm already putting in tons of trees. A lot of different trees. I'm going with some of the alder, I think it is. Those big, tall, green ones. I'm going with that huge, dark green tree. I'm going with some of the oak, or tree number 2, I think it is. Or maybe both. I forget. You see that one like 3 times in the menu. I'm not sure why. And so we just put on the park policies there, try to get people to go. Here I'm going to start curating with some time lapse. But before I even do that, let's go back. I have to name this. We're going to name this the Felipe Gomez Natural... No, we're just going to call it the campground. Right now, it's just a campground. We might rename that in the future, but that'll be the Felipe Campground. Going back to the neighborhood now. Now let's curate our buildings. All right. I'm not entirely sure. I don't have an idea which one I want, but seeing that those two there with the pastel colors, I really like them. The same ones we had over by the basin. I'm going to try to get those in place over here in the 3x4s. And you know what? Instead of having 5 buildings, I'm going to put a playground. Because, like I said last episode, playgrounds are nice. Residential neighborhoods, you want young families, you want kids. You should have a playground, otherwise they're going to get up, come up with their own things to play on. We'll call that the Pete M Playground. So, Pete, you got a playground right there in this new, nice, high-density neighborhood. I think it looks pretty good there. And we'll just play in the game where you wait for the right building to spawn. There it is. All right, so we got those 4 buildings looking across from each other. Here we've got that Art Deco. It almost looks like a chubby tuning fork, I guess. I like that building. We're going to keep that. We'll see what one complements it well. But before it grows, let's just appreciate the sunrise here. I love those little moments where you see the sun rising, the sun setting. It's kind of nice. And if we look, though, at our cemetery, it's just about full. So I'm going to empty it a little bit so that it sends some of the bodies from that cemetery to the other one over in Farmington Village. We'll put on a time lapse again for some standard issue detailing, I think is what I'm going to start calling this procedure. And so when I say standard issue detailing, if you're not ever really sure how to detail well, I would recommend just putting in some trees, some bushes, some benches, little things. Don't go too crazy. Just fill in the gaps with some stuff. That's standard issue detail. Here we go. You see, just putting in some trees. This is a little bit closer to the forest, so I'm going to make the trees a little bit denser. And here I'm going to rebuild that mini memorial park. It's going to be a little bit bigger this time. We'll put in some picnic tables. We'll put in some of our community gardens. A couple of bushes all over the place. And now in this spot, I don't want to do too much standard issue detailing on that spot. I think we'll put something else. Let's see how many people we need. Oh, what I did, I just named the forest, the Big Forest National Park. Here's a bison again. We'll take a look. That's a bison number 1. That's the same bison. So far, there is at least one bison roaming this forest. And we want to make sure that it has a nice, happy life, free from worry about humans encroaching on its natural habitat. Okay, I don't know how many bisons, or bison, is the plural of bison, bison, or is it bisons? That's an English language problem. I'll have to look that up. But I don't think they are tropical animals, and I don't think they specifically live in the forest. I think they're prairie animals. When I think of them, I think of the American one in the Midwest, which almost went extinct because of human encroachment and hunting. So that's what I have in mind. Here we're going to put a cafe, which I think is a nice thing to overlook the basin. We'll call it Miguel's Cafe. All right, it's a cool spot. You want a coffee? Go to Miguel's Cafe. Overlooks the basin. And some more standard issue detailing just around this area, filling in all the gaps. I was thinking of an analogy for what makes a city look real and what makes it look good. And I was kind of thinking of music. All right, now hear me out on this. I was thinking that, because I heard it once somewhere, I don't remember where I heard this analogy with music and other stuff, but I think it fits well with what we're doing here, and that is, you know, music is just made of sounds, but if you just have constant sound, it's not music, it's just a noise. It's like, ah. So you have to punctuate it, you have to change the notes, you have to put in moments of silence, and that's what makes it music. Like my sweet theme song, where I go, do, 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 do. See, if I just went do, that wouldn't be good. Nobody would like that. So I'm thinking the same with my city. You know, there's notes, there's pauses, there's different types of musical notes in the way I'm building here. Ooh, our Big Forest National Park has reached level 2. Now we've got the 2 viewing decks and a camping tent campground thing. See people riding their bicycles in the park. It's kind of cool. I don't know if I would advise it, but maybe they're mountain bikes. But do you really want a mountain bike at night when there's wild bison roaming around? I don't know. Here comes our nice sunrise. Look at that city. It is looking good. Yeah, this is what I'm talking about. So here is a photo of Xuca wearing an oven mitt for a hat. There is your second photo, spontaneous and without warning, of Xuca. I kind of like how these cars are parking like on the street outside this little parking lot. I feel like that's very real. I've been to places like that, and there's never enough parking, and so you see these cars kind of park on the street leading up to the entrance. This tent campground, it's nice looking, but it uses palm trees, so I don't think it's going to fit in our big forest at all. But what we'll do, just to boost up the entertainment, is put in a viewing deck. And yes, I know it's overlooking a residential neighborhood, but I just want the entertainment, all right? That is going to be subject to change, all right? Don't get too picky about that just yet, because you'll see. I've got some plans. I've got some plans for this place. Hope you're not getting too attached to it. Oh yeah. West Canal, I don't think I like it anymore. I think we're gonna do a big change. But we'll do that in a little bit. Going up to Canal Heights West, the new West Canal. That's where we're doing all the beautiful architecture stuff this episode. So let's take a look at this campground again. We'll just take a look at a palm tree area and see kind of how it fits. I like it. I think that would look really good on the beach. Or near the beach. Over here at Xucaboa Beach. I'm not ready to put it down yet. But thinking of the beach though, I should I've been meaning to do this. This beach is kind of weird. It's on a slope. and it's really short. So I just want to flatten it out just above the water level is what I'm doing with the flattened terrain tool. Let the simulation run for a second, let all that water clear off, and now you've got a nice flat beach right up at the water level. A little bit, now, I mean, beaches can be have slopes. A lot of beaches have slopes and hills, but I think this looks better in the game. It looks a lot more real, even if the last one wasn't unrealistic. Now we're back at the big forest, and we're just throwing in trees. I individually place each tree because I do not have a tree brush on PC vanilla. I believe the consoles have a tree brush, I've learned, and I'm quite jealous of that. There is a mod for tree brush that is good for PC, but we're playing vanilla, so we're not going to do that. I just thought this was funny. I was chasing these people with a bush, so I slowed it down real quick. Imagine you're just walking down the road, all of a sudden bushes appear spontaneously right next to you. It would be kind of funny. We'll go back to the time lapse here. Alright, we've got enough entertainment to get to the next level. We just need a lot of people to come through. 2,500 I think it said. So we'll just wait. Now I'm going to clear a small area right here because this is just something that's going to come up. I've got to deal with it now before it's too late. And that is, we need some more death care. We need another cemetery in the city because both of our other cemeteries are getting pretty close to full. And I am not even close to unlocking a crematorium. So we'll put one right there, kind of just up in the woods. I think it's a peaceful location if you don't think the helicopters will bother the people who are interned there. You know, it's in the woods. It's kind of nice. I really don't have a lot of places to put a cemetery right now unless I buy a new tile, and I'm not buying a new tile just yet. Someday soon, but not yet. We've got a lot of work on this tile to do still. Since our industrial demand is growing as our residential is decreasing, I'm just going to put in a single industrial building right across from the helicopter depot. And I'll make that historical. I think it looks nice. It's low profile. With our filter industrial waste, it won't cause a great amount of pollution at all. And if it levels up, it will cause even less pollution. So I'm not worried about the pollution aspect of it. People have to work. We'll put in a single factory right there. Now, oh no, what are you doing? Let me tell you. I am going to do what I did with forestry industrial many episodes ago in this exact same spot. I am just going to zone like a maniac to get to the next level. We are so close to hitting our next milestone. We're at 8,700 population, more or less. And we need 9,000. So I just want to get that as fast as possible. And hopefully without overzoning too quickly so that I cause more problems than I solve. Almost leveled up in the Canal Heights Park to level 3, which is good. But we're just gonna look at this. You see when all these high density buildings are so close to each other, I see a lot of builders do this. They just throw indiscriminately, they just zone a block with high density and then just everything fills in. And sometimes it can come out looking good. I think that's somewhat accidental. From afar, it can kind of look good, but it really looks like a high density city like Manhattan. And if you look at the rest of this city, it doesn't fit in at all. I would never want to include a district like this. It just looks so out of place. I don't think it looks bad, it just looks out of place. And because there's no gaps, all the buildings are oriented in whatever way they wanted to grow, I think it could look a lot better if you just take time to plant the buildings you want, right? Imagine this is your farm and you're planting seeds. You want to harvest a nice city at the end. So you plant the seeds, you see what grows, you pull out the weeds, keep going. I'm getting very metaphorical this episode. All right, Canal Heights Park has reached level 3 and we got 2 gazebos, which is great. We're gonna start throwing those in the city from time to time. You know, the more park assets we unlock for the city park, for the nature reserve, in the future for the zoo and for the amusement park, that's just more stuff we can put around the city. It doesn't have to be in a park zone. Like we put the cafe several times, the plaza from the city park, and those things look great, even if they're not in a park area. They're just nice assets. So I put a bouncy castle right there to hopefully help some of these buildings level up really fast. We're so close to getting 9,000. And if they level up, I think they can hold a few more households per building. I like this office that grew here, and I'm gonna keep that. That's gonna stay. It's kind of modern looking, but it's cool, and it overlooks the basin. I feel like that would be something people would want to do. All right, we reached small city. Very good, very nice. Unlocked all kinds of good stuff, including the train station, which I've been wanting for a long time. So now we're just going to delete this entire neighborhood. Gone. Never existed. Alright. Sorry, people. I know you had your hopes and dreams dependent on that neighborhood existing, but no mas. Alright, we got a little bit of trash building up. Our status is still good, but I'll throw in an incinerator plant right next to the landfill, and maybe we'll empty. It's 38% full. We'll start emptying it. And then, oh, what is ay caramba, we've got traffic. I don't know what is causing that. So I'm gonna stop emptying the landfill. And hopefully the garbage trucks sort themselves out. I don't know, it looks like it cleared out now. Something happened and it caused a backup, but it was temporary, so that's good. But something we have to keep an eye on. Especially as we add density and have more people coming into the city as tourists, which is going to happen now that we're putting in this train station. Finally. Been waiting my whole life for this train station. And so just a real quick trick, I changed the highway real quick to a zonable street so I could place the train station, and then I reversed it. So that's just a thing you can do to keep things tight. And we're going to call this the Xucaboa station. Xucaboa being the name of the city in that other YouTube channel. So let's imagine that perhaps this train line goes to that city. I don't know. What do you think? We'll turn it off for right now though, because we're not connected to anything. I don't want people thinking they can come to the city and then getting disappointed. We'll just turn it on. I've got a little bit of a glitch sometimes where if I try to move something, it gets stuck. If you just try to move something else and then exit out, it works. And so, really, I think that's all I'm going to do for this episode. It's already gone on quite a while. We really just did this area for residential. It looks good. I'm happy with how it came out. We put in this nature reserve, this campground. I actually don't like how there are these lights on the path. We're just going to get rid of them, make it the path without lights. And now have this very secluded campground. All right, as the sun rises once again over Xucaboa. I'm happy with how this turned out. There's a lot of work to do. There's a lot of standard issue detailing that I didn't do just for time's sake. If you look at the roundabout, the area by the helicopter depot, still have work to do there, but we'll get that next time. We'll head to the cinematics right now, and I'll just tell everyone kind of what I'm thinking about next episodes. So I've got this thought where we could either continue into Canal West, into West Canal. We've still got some work to do on the nature reserve, but I also want to do work on the Xucaboa Beach area and on Compass Hill. Those are two areas that I've been imagining starting an episode and then changing my mind for like weeks now. I really want to work on them. So I've got ideas for them, and they're going to be really cool. But I think now that we've unlocked some more stuff, both park assets and what was the milestone we hit? I think that'll really give us some more options for what I want to do in those areas. So I'm glad we waited. I think hopefully it will have been worth it. Okay? But let me know what you think. If you like this episode, if you didn't like it, am I time-lapsing too much? Am I putting in too many trees? Am I not putting in enough trees? I'm always very curious to hear what subscribers have to say. But as always, thank you for watching Xucaboa 100% Vanilla Baby, episode 15. And I will see you next time.